Engine idling quiet in the gravel turnaround. Had my thumbs resting over, are you still awake? Thumb hovered over the green arrow button for a second. For a second. Locked the phone screen, put it in my cup holder. The porch light at your place went dark at 10. I backed out onto the main road slow. Gravel grinding quiet underneath my tire treads. I rest one hand on the gear shift knob. Maybe some other time. Yeah, maybe some other time. We both knew what it meant when neither of us reached out. That half-finished message died right there in the cab. I pulled into my own driveway across town, killed the ignition and let the headlights go black. No missed calls showing on the dashboard screen, just the cold air coming through the vein. Saw your dad's lawnmower parked outside the hardware shop. I almost pulled in to ask how he was doing. Unsent words sitting in the dark. Screen door hinge squeaking once in the damp air. Watched you pack your duffel bag by the coat rack. I backed into the kitchen doorway to stay out of the way. Folding my arms across my chest real tight. I wanted to ask you to unpack your boots. Instead I cleared my throat and looked at the linoleum. Your taillights flared red down the gravel driveway. I leaned my shoulder against the kitchen doorway. Muttered, take care of yourself. Told you, take care of yourself. I haven't walked straight through that kitchen doorway all week. I step around the frame like something's still standing there. Unscrewed the porch bulb, put my hands in my jeans pockets to stop the shake. The house feels twice as big past 8 o'clock. I drink my tap water in the dark. Brother called to ask where you left the spare tire. I gave him the directions, real calm and steady. Your taillights flared red down the gravel driveway. I lean my shoulder against the kitchen doorway, mutter, take care of yourself. Told you, take care of yourself. Kitchen doorway, empty in the porch light. I turn the lock. Gentle creak of pine boards under heavy boots. Stared at the pine bookcase by the hallway coat rack. My old shop manual still stacked under yard history texts. Said I acted like you dragged us down to the bottom. I just ran out of answers when the season turned cold. Nobody's the bad guy here tonight. Street light shines through the window blind slats. I run my thumb down a worn leather binding. This is not about you. I promise it's not about you. You don't have to carry the blame for the silence in this room. That pine bookcase still holds both our names on the spines. I packed my toolbox and my canvas jacket in the truck. I'm leaving the desk lamp on so you can see the lock. It was just time for me to go. I put my car keys in my pocket. Your mom called to ask if I needed help moving the couch. I told her I'm leaving everything right where it belongs. Still standing together on the pine shelf. I pull the door shut soft. Left my heavy flannel coat resting on the kitchen chair. Walked past her sitting on the sofa with a book in her hand. I pulled the screen door shut behind me real quiet. Told her I needed to check the fence line down by the creek. I knew I wasn't coming back tonight. I drove 40 miles past the county line before midnight. Picture that television set humming in the dark hall. I said, don't wait up. told her, don't wait up. She probably left that television set running for background noise, thinking I'd pull the truck in around 2 or 3. I slept in the cab outside an interstate truck stop diner. Woke up with cold coffee in a paper cup. I stared at my knuckles against the steering wheel. Didn't even check for a missed call. Her sister's car was parked in the yard when I drove past today. I kept my foot steady on the gas pedal. That television set glowing for nobody now. I hit the highway fast. Pulled 2 milk crates out of the front hall closet. Set the old Willie Nelson LP right on top of your pile. Said, no, you bought it at the roadside thrift shop in Maine. I know you bought it at a roadside thrift shop in Maine. I kept the bluegrass pressings for the road trips. Didn't see much point in splitting every single one. Dust motives floating in the window light. 2 smaller stacks sitting side by side now. Keep the records, just keep the records. That Willie Nelson cover has your handwriting on the gatefold. It hurts too much to watch it spin without you in the chair. I loaded your milk crate in the chair. I loaded your milk crate into the back of your hatchback. Shut the trunk door slow so it latched clean. Left a wooden cabinet empty by the speaker wires. My hands smell like vintage paper and cardboard. I kept the 45 we found in Memphis. Left it right beside the amplifier knob. 2 smaller stacks loaded in the house. Opened up my saved messages in the truck cab. Your 3-minute recording from last October sits right at top. You told me I was cold for walking out that front gate. I leaned against the steering wheel and listened to the end. I leaned against the steering wheel and listened to the end. I didn't apologize then, and I won't start today. Red light idling on the bypass bridge. I keep a rolled audio file stored in my recents. I meant every word, I still meant every word. You claimed I said those hard things just to hurt your pride. I told you we were poison long before the summer ended. That old audio file sits on my cell phone hard drive. I gear down into second and take the exit ramp home. My hands are steady on the leather wheel cover. The windshield wiper wipes the salt off the glass. Red light idling on the bypass bridge. I keep a rolled audio file stored in my recents. I meant every word, I still meant every word. My cousin told me to clear out my old mess's history. I told him some records are meant to stay right where they are. Old recordings saved on my call log screen. I turn off the dashboard lights. Inched up behind you in line by the zinc espresso counter. Heard you order 2 pumps of vanilla with double shot. Same exact morning routine as 3 autumns ago. I adjusted my jacket collar and stepped 2 paces back. Looked down at my work boots, real intent. You grabbed your cup without turning your head around once. I tapped my debit card on the zinc espresso counter. We're better as strangers. You're better as strangers. I stepped up to that zinc espresso counter right after you. Paid for my black coffee, paid for my black coffee, and didn't make a sound. Watched your red car pull out of the alleyway space. I used to keep an extra scarf in my glove box for you. Now I drink this hot caffeine, standing by the window glass. Rain starting to spot the sidewalk outside. Your barista friend asked how my dog was doing. I said he's fine and left $1 in the tip jar. Zinc espresso counter, sticky with spilled syrup. I head out to my truck. I head out to my truck. Stepped out into the damp cold air by gate 4. 3 unread banners popping up across my lock screen. Her name listed twice under the airplane mode sign. I shoved the device deep into my duffel side pocket, didn't tap back. Walking fast through the garage light in the drizzle. My lock screen full of questions I can't answer tonight, she said. Text when you land. I knew I ought to write when you land. Left her waiting up in that quiet kitchen 4 states back, sitting by the radiator with her tea getting lukewarm. I pulled up her chat window, standing at the rental curb. Typed out 2 words, then deleted them both slow. My lock screen went black in my cold palm. I caught the shuttle bus without typing a thing. It's easier to let the distance do the heavy lifting. Coward's way out, but I'm too tired to care. My lock screen dark in the shuttle window reflection. I lean my head back. Torn receipt pinned to the freezer, front with a clip. Your cursive handwriting asked for honey and fresh apples. I scrawled motor oil underneath in black Sharpie. 2 different lives, sharing one magnetic board. We did the best. We did the best we could with what we had. Torn receipt still hanging above the ice maker handle. I stare at your loop-in letters while the coffee brews. It was never about blame. It was never about blame. Pointing fingers won't fix the silence in the hallway. You gave 6 good years, and I gave everything I could. That torn receipt is yelling around the scotch tape edge. No, I load my toolbox into the bed of the pickup. Leave the kitchen clean and the trash cans pushed back. Sometimes things just wear out like leather boots. My brother asked who started the final argument. I told him nobody lost and nobody won. receipt hanging still on the stainless steel. I locked the back porch door. Notch 14 small grooves into the wooden wordbeck frame. One pocket knife mark for every Friday since October. My old man told me time heals everything eventually. Heals everything eventually. He said it real casual over a cold beer. I just nodded and swept the sawdust away. Tracing those 14 small grooves with my thumb tip, I wonder if the weight ever really lightens up. Does it get easier? Yeah, does it get easier? Ran into your uncle at the hardware store yesterday. He asked how the shop was doing, and I said fine. 14 small grooves sitting right beside the oil can. I replaced the rusted muffler on my truck last night. The drive home was quiet for the first time in months. Didn't even turn the radio dial on. Some days the air feels a little less heavy in my chest. Other days I still catch myself looking at the passenger seat. "14 small grooves carved into the pine wood. I fold the knife shut." Sitting on the tailgate in the garage light, 10 digits saved right between Miller and my boss. Area code 406. From your college town years, I know every single digit by heart now. Never deleted the entry. Thumb resting heavy on the black aluminum case. I lock the screen and toss it on the passenger seat. I still have your number. I still have your number. Could ask if you ever sold that blue hatchback, or if your brother finished his law degree and settled. 10 digits sitting there, quiet in the storage memory. I take a long sip of lukewarm Coors Light. The garage door springs creak in the wind outside. It's too late to call anyway. switch off the overhead light. Square yellow sticky note stuck to the iron skillet. Your neat handwriting neat as a law school diploma. Said you took the dog and the blue sedan. Left $250 in cash for the utility bill. Didn't leave a single shirt behind. Square yellow sticky note fluttering in the hallway draft. If you were gonna throw 6 years away, you should have said it right to my face. Yeah, right to my face. I came home from the 6 shift expecting coffee. Instead I found that square yellow sticky note by the sink. You waited till my truck pulled out of the gravel driveway, packed your closet into 3 heavy cardboard boxes, left me talking to an empty kitchen wall. Couldn't even face me man to man. I peel the adhesive off the cast iron surface, stick it on the hallway mirror so I remember. Square yellow sticky note fluttering in the hallway draft. If you were gonna throw 6 years away, you should have said it right to my face. Yeah, right to my face. Square yellow sticky note sticking to my palm. I pull out a cold beer. Scratched wood grain transistor sitting on the workbench shelf, set to the AM sports station out of St. Louis. 2 announcers arguing about the 6th inning play. I don't even follow baseball much these days. It keeps the garage from feeling so wide. That scratched wood grain transistor hums through the speaker wire. I drink my coffee standing by the tool chest, alone with the radio. Yeah, alone with the radio. Left the knob turned on when I went to bed last night. Woke up at 5 a.m. to weather forecasts for farm counties. I wiped down the carburetor with an old grease rag. The announcer plays a classic rock station identifier. I set the wrench down slow on the tray. The house behind me stays pitch dark. That scratched wood grain transistor hums through the speaker wire. I drink my coffee standing by the tool chest, alone with the radio. Yeah, alone with the radio. grain transistor playing through the quiet. I don't bother turning it off. 5 heavy moving boxes stacked against bare drywall. My power drill and socket set sitting on top. Rented a small brick duplex near the old grain mill. First month's rent took most of my paycheck, worth every single nickel. Staring at 5 heavy moving boxes by the entryway door. I set a fresh pot of black coffee to brew. Building a life on the quiet side of town. Gonna stay right here on the quiet side of town. Unbolted the rusty mailbox and put up a new one. Swept 5 years of dry elm leaves off the porch. My neighbor Jim came over with a bag of lemons. Said people mostly mind their own business around here. I carried my old kitchen table inside by myself. It fits perfectly right underneath the window glass. It takes time for a strange room to feel like home. I'll get there one afternoon at a time. Staring at 5 heavy moving boxes by the entryway door. I set a fresh pot of black coffee to brew. Building a life on the quiet side of town. Gonna stay right here on the quiet side of town. Five heavy moving boxes, getting taped up, empty now. Sit on the porch and watch the dusk line. Called out that the radiator was starting to hiss. Thought you were down hall folding bath towels. I asked if you wanted extra cream in your cup. Stood there waiting. Just the sound of the water pipe humming, staring down at that worn oak armchair in the corner. I run a hand across my chin and sigh. Here I am talking to myself. Talking to myself again. I started explaining what the mechanic said about the brakes. Turned around toward the hallway door with moved your things out 3 weeks back. I tucked my hand into my jacket pocket slow, swept up the wood dust beside the hearth, felt a little foolish standing in the hall. Hard to stop speaking when you spent years sharing air. Silence takes some getting used to. That worn oak armchair angled right toward the TV set. I shut off the kitchen overhead light. Old heavy cell phone resting on the pine nightstand, sitting right beside a half-drained glass of tap water. 11:45 and not a chime or ringtone. Used to hear your voice asking if I locked up. Dead quiet house. That old heavy cell phone sits cold against wood grain. I set my reading glasses down slow. Nobody called tonight. I guess nobody called tonight. My brother usually calls on Thursdays after his shift. Must have gotten caught up late at the rail yard. I scrolled through 3 months of unread group texts. Nothing meant for me specifically to answer back. I clicked the side button to dark. The porch light bugs bang on glass. Nobody asking how my back is holding up. Nobody checking if I made it back safe. That old heavy cell phone sits cold against wood grain. I set my reading glasses down slow. Nobody called tonight. I guess nobody called tonight. Heavy cell phone lying still in the dark room. I turn off the bedside lamp. Hardcover history book, dog-eared on page 1, sitting right on the edge of the workbench. I pulled my leather work gloves off early today. Didn't go polish the truck bumper or sweep grease, just sat on the stool. That hardcover history book lying open by my thumb. I forced my hands to stay flat on wood, learning to sit still. Yeah, learning to sit still. Spent 3 weeks straight fixing things that weren't broken. Tightened every loose hinge from the kitchen to porch. cabinets to sand down and stain. Now I watch the afternoon sun cross the ground. I read 4 paragraphs about an old railroad line. My shoulders dropped down an inch, harder than 12-hour shifts at the yard. Doing nothing takes all my strength. Hardcover history book resting under my palm. I let the sun fade out. Black battery clock hanging above the basement stairs, loud enough to hear from the kitchen table. Got 2 hours left before my early shift starts. I stare down at my calloused knuckles, cold coffee cup. That black battery clock keeps clicking through the hall. I lean my heavy elbows on the pine table, holding the weight of silence. Yeah, the weight of silence. We said everything we had to say at sundown. Now there's nothing left to slam or fix. I watch the red second-hand circle around the 9. 15 minutes go by without a single streetcar noise. I set my ceramic mug down real easy. Don't wanna break the air. Rather hear you yell about the unwashed dishes than sit with hours I can't fill. Black battery clock ticking steady on the wall plaster. I just sit in my coat. Long dark split running across the bedroom ceiling plaster. Grew another ½ inch since the rain last Tuesday. I lay flat with my heavy boots off, eyes wide open, mind racing fast. Watching that long dark split spread across white paint. I rub my tired eyes with the back of my hand. Spent all night counting the ceiling cracks. I'm counting the ceiling cracks again. Thought about calling your landline at midnight. Left my phone charging clear across the room instead. The ceiling paint is peeling near the wall. starts in 2 hours at the lumberyard. I haven't closed my eyes for a second. 4 o'clock train, whistle blows. Watching that long dark split spread across white paint. I rub my tired eyes with the back of my hand. Spent all night counting the ceiling cracks. I'm counting the ceiling cracks again. Fixing plaster's easy with a putty knife and mud. Wish fixing what I broke was that simple. That long dark split branching out over my bed. I sit up and stretch. Stained ceramic reading lamp sitting on the corner desk, shining down on a stack of unread hardware receipts. Whole neighborhood went black an hour ago. I pull my heavy cardigan tight against the draft, just sitting here. That stained ceramic reading lamp throwing warm light on oak. I lean back in the creaking swivel chair. It's me in the dark, yeah, me in the dark again. I fill a pipe with cherry tobacco and don't light it. Just like the smell sticking to my thumbs. The refrigerator clicks off and leaves the house still. I kick my heavy work boots under the table. No place I need to drive to until dawn. Used to fight the late hours when you left. Now we just share the quiet room together. Stained ceramic reading lamp burning quiet in the corner. I let the clock run out. Fresh pot of black dark roast on the stove counter. Poured a single heavy mug to take outside. Didn't glance twice at the empty kitchen chair. Didn't glance twice, even held a catching smile. Sat right down on the tailgate folding step. Sun feels warm on my neck. That fresh pot of black dark roast keeping my hands warm while I watch the crowd circle over the fence line. Don't mind sitting with myself. I'm just sitting with myself today. Oh, no, oh. Spent 2 years thinking I needed somebody around, just to keep the quiet from biting back. Now I grease the hinges on the barn door slow. Got a radio playing low country tunes. The dog stretches out across the gravel drive. Thought I'd grow bitter in an empty house. Turns out the silence fits me just fine. Yeah, fresh pot of black dark rose, cooling on the wood. You cooling on the wood. I rest my back against door. Standing by the screen door in my socks, holding the receiver out in dead air. You didn't say take care or hang up first. Just 2, 3 soft exhales and flat silence. Call ended 3 seconds ago. Holding that receiver full of dead air in the kitchen. I rest my forehead on the screen wire. Guess there's nothing left to say. Yeah, nothing left to say now. Overpass traffic hums low through the wet trees. I kept my boots on the porch mat tonight. Usually we'd stay up arguing till 2. Tonight you just let the battery run down. Didn't even bother calling back. Anger used to give us something to hold on to. Now the air in this room is just flat. Holding that receiver full of dead air in the kitchen. I rest my forehead on the screen wire. Guess there's nothing left to say. Yeah, nothing left to say now. Receiver full of dead air clicking off in my hand. I drop it in my pocket. Unopened utility bill shoved under the brass doorstop. A yellow notice from the city water board. Walked right past them 6 times this morning. Work boots muddy on the entryway rug. Don't care enough to sweep. Those unopened utility bills sliding under the heavy brass stile. I lean my back against the pine door frame, trapped inside the long quiet, lost inside the long quiet today. Truck key sits on the kitchen counter near the sink. Gas gauge has been sitting on empty for weeks. I fried 2 eggs and left the pan on the stove. The neighbor's mower runs for an hour and quits. Sun sets behind the grain silo. Those unopened utility bills sliding under the heavy brass stile. Lean my back against the pine door frame, trapped inside the long quiet, lost inside the long quiet today. Nothing ever really breaks with a big loud noise. It just gets real still until you stop noticing. Those unopened utility bills resting flat on the floorboards. I turn the porch light off. Duct tape the heavy apple crate tight across the top seams. Set it high up on the garage rafters above the bench. Hands covered in gray dust and old pine resin. Wipe them on my canvas trousers. Finished up. Duct taped heavy apple crate resting high above the lawnmower. Stop checking the mailbox for a letter from you. I'm making peace alone, just making peace alone. Cleared your lingering jumper cables out of the truck bed. Stack them neat against the tool shed wall. Swept the dry oak leaves off the front porch planks. The evening air is cooling down real fast now. I pour a small measure of rye, kept holding out for some big final conversation. Realized the silence was the only answer you had. The duct-taped heavy apple crate resting high above the lawnmower. I stopped checking the mailbox for a letter from you. I'm making peace alone, just making peace alone. Sitting high in the rafters. I shut the garage